Dear respected Europeans, Ukrainian women are not your competitors and do not want to take your jobs. Ukrainian women will return to Ukraine, they want it. It depends on you, your businessmen and your governments how Ukrainians will spend this time in your countries. European business can think in advance about their branches in peaceful Ukraine. And even now, in your countries, businesses can create special departments for Ukrainian refugees, women who are professionals in a similar business. So Ukrainian women will be able to learn all the details of this business, gain invaluable European experience. And when the end of the war is officially announced, these Ukrainian departments, together with Ukrainian ones, can be easily transferred to Ukraine, and thus these ready-made teams will become the basis of Ukrainian branches. That's it, Ukrainian women will leave for Ukraine after their jobs. You have nothing to worry about. But until that moment, Ukrainian women will be able to work by profession without knowing the language, provide for their children normally, benefit your business, your country, and minimize the burden on the budgets allocated by your countries to support Ukrainian refugees. So that you can imagine what you had to go through, what Ukrainian women saved their children from, I edited this video. Yeah, I learned from my own experience that watching the news about the war and being under bombardment is a completely different feeling. It's hard to put into words. At the same time, you understand that in a peaceful settlement you are almost unprotected against rockets and bombs. Among the Ukrainian refugees are women with higher education, who had a prestigious job, sufficient wages, their own comfortable housing, and a measured happy life. Children studied at schools, went in for sports, martial arts, music, art, went to cinemas, amusement parks, rested in hotels in Turkey, Egypt, and they lost it all. Without knowledge of the language, without European diplomas, these women, professionals in their field, are forced to look for low-paid unskilled work. But these are teachers, doctors, lawyers, technologists, economists, architects, television people and others. The European authorities could think about stimulating all areas of business to create Ukrainian departments, or groups. In schools, at firms, in companies, at enterprises, on TV channels. In this case, Ukrainians could get a job in their specialty without knowing the language and a European diploma, earn normal money, provide for their children, benefit the country that sheltered and help Ukraine. They could learn European standards for doing this business and then, returning to Ukraine, introduce this knowledge already in their homeland. And, ideally, these Ukrainian departments could be transferred together with their employees to Ukraine, as a fully prepared basis for Ukrainian branches of these European companies. That is, Ukrainians do not want to become competitors to local professionals, they do not want to take away jobs from locals, but training, practice and quality work according to European standards would be very useful to Ukrainians now. I would like to invite all Ukrainian women to record on video my story about how they lived before the war, where they lived, what kind of housing they had, who they worked, where they worked, what their income was and what it was enough for, how and where they rested, what is wrong with you happened from the beginning of the war, what happened to your former life, to your work, to your housing. Technical wishes, it is desirable to record the sound through the headset. Preferably a horizontal frame. 2 smartphones can be used. Close-up shots can be taken with a single smartphone with a headset connected. The second one can shoot a long-range shot without a headset. I suggest publishing your stories on your own YouTube channel. Add relevant videos about your past and present life there. I propose to drop me the links of these materials to email cecia.odlico.muse@gmail.com in the letter. Include personal details and a brief description of your personal history. In the subject line of the letter, indicate the name, surname and city. I want, if possible, to make a documentary series of these materials. And if there is no opportunity, I think, for obvious reasons, Ukraine, war, a man under 60, then simply create an album or playlist of your videos on your channel. The goal, to focus as much as possible on these stories, on the number of these stories, so that as many people around the world as possible feel whatever Ukrainian woman and her children had to go through.